As a little kid, perhaps much like yourself, I loved to play in the mud. And it was so much fun to play in deep mud. But there were times that I would get stuck in the mud and need one of the brothers to help pull me out, being the fourth of the 5 boys. It's one thing to want to be playing in the mud and enter into the mud oneself and needing help getting out. It's a very different thing what Jeremiah experienced in this first reading. He was put into the mud in this cistern because there were leaders at the time who did not like what he was prophesying. As Christians, we all stand, and as Catholics, we stand in a world that sometimes will bring about great persecutions for us, great trials. We at times might feel like we are lowered down into the well, whether it's because of others, whether it's because circumstances of life, could be things like health. Well, I was lowered down into the cistern when I thought I was pretty invincible up until that point. Dealing with migraines for a period of time that became debilitating, I'm so grateful, as I mentioned at the beginning of Mass, for Bishop Kettler to allow me the opportunity to get the professional help that I needed so as to be healthy in mind, body, and spirit. Because as human beings, we have a body, we have a mind, we have a spirit, and all those need to work well together in order for us to persevere through all things that come. But like any of us who've experienced hardships in our life, for some of you it may also be health. For others it may be some tragedy in your family. And today I remember in a special way Paul Billion, a young man who was killed. It's the Mass we celebrate today, and what an honor for me to celebrate this Mass. A man who loved his faith and lived his faith. But we all must persevere because we never know what trial will be upon us or upon our family members. But what we do know is when we draw close to Christ and we keep our eyes on Jesus, we have everything we need. We are instructed so clearly that we are to keep our eyes on Jesus. And when we keep our eyes on Jesus, He gives us the strength even when we're in the cistern and when it's dark and when it's uncertain. I didn't know if God would provide for me the opportunity to return to all of you. But I can share with you that during this period of time, you have been very, very intently in my prayer. And I have come to experience that, like the men that were sent to help Jeremiah get out of the well, that's you, good people. All of you who have been praying and offering sacrifices that I might be restored to health. The kind notes and messages that were sent along the way. And I can tell you that as I spent that time away, the fondness in my heart to love and serve all of you grew stronger and stronger. But I didn't know how that was possible because the cistern seemed deep and it was dark and I didn't know the way out. But God knew the way out. And God provided me people in my life, like we all need in our life, to help us rise above the trials of life. But we must persevere in running the race and never give up. Certainly there were times of great discouragement for me, times that I was saddened, times that I wondered what would happen. But St. Paul, in his encouragement to the Hebrews, he speaks about how we're surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. Let us rid ourselves of every burden and sin that clings to us and persevere in running the race that lies before us while keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus. I had a cross with me, and that cross has new meaning to me now, because I was experiencing in my own life the taste of greater death. Death to my own desires, what I want to do, be back home, serving all of you, and helping all you and all the people that watch us on TV get to heaven. That's the desire God placed in my heart. And so, though it was dark in the cistern of the unknown and the health challenges, the fire of love never dimmed. The fire of love gave me strength. It was the glimmer of light that would give me hope in the midst of the uncertainties and the waiting. We all have our times, and all we need to do is keep our eyes on Jesus. I shared with the pontifical servers tonight before we entered into Mass that their beautiful ministry here at the cathedral, I was so longing to come back and to celebrate Mass with them tonight, because I see their reverence as young men, and I see so many wonderful young men and young women, young couples, and those of us who more middle age and aging. So many people are living their faith. I see you persevering in running the race, and I offer you tonight words of profound gratitude for your prayers and your sacrifices. I was thinking at the beginning of Mass, seeing all of you and seeing all of the servers, God must be most tired of hearing from all of us. But He heard our prayers. God is always faithful. God is always faithful. Let us persevere in running the race that lies before us, keeping our eyes always fixed on Jesus.